the young, and the restless spoilers. Welcome back to the channel, besties. Today is a wildly beautiful day, but the vibes on our screens are genuinely anything but peaceful. Grab your emotional support iced coffees because we are diving straight into the absolute madness that just went down. We have so much to unpack, so let's get right into it. You guys, I am deceased. Stop what you are doing and listen to me. I am literally shaking. Wait, we need to talk about this now. I am literally filming this while I'm running errands because I just had to jump on here and vent. But honestly, I might need to pull the car over because my heart is beating out of my chest. I was mid-skincare when this episode started and I smeared charcoal mask all over the rug because I literally had to yeet my phone across the room. The sheer audacity of what just happened in Genoa City has permanently altered my brain chemistry. We are not just watching a soap opera anymore, we are witnessing a high-octane psychological masterpiece where the stakes are astronomical, and I am personally victimized by the writers right now. Send help. My soul has actually left my body. Wait, backtrack for a second, I missed a step, because we need to set the scene before I completely lose my mind over the main event. So, Jack Abbott is lying in a hospital bed, completely unconscious, fighting for his absolute life after being brutally stabbed. The patriarch of the Abbott family is basically clinging to existence by a literal thread, surrounded by beeping monitors and tubes, looking so fragile that I genuinely started tearing up. And where is his wife? Oh, hold on, I should have mentioned this earlier, but Diane Jenkins Abbott is currently trapped in the absolute worst place possible, the Genoa City Police Department. Bestie, be for real right now, the GCPD is basically the most depressing place on earth, and Diane is sitting in this dimly lit, aggressively gray interrogation room with Kyle by her side. They are desperately trying to exchange information with the detectives, pleading and begging to prove that Diane is innocent and did not stab Jack. Kyle is straight up vibrating with defensive energy, acting as his mother's human shield, while Diane looks like she is one minor inconvenience away from a total mental collapse. And don't even get me started on the vibes in that interrogation room. There is this weird buzzing sound coming from the fluorescent lights overhead, which is honestly so unhinged, and it just adds to this suffocating, claustrophobic feeling. Diane is crying, Kyle is arguing with the cops, and they are doing everything in their power to clear her name. But the tragic, gut-wrenching irony of it all is that while they are locked in that miserable room trying to prove she isn't a murderer, the actual attempted murderer is making her next move. Did I say that yet? My brain is mush. Moving on. Wait, I'm glitching. Okay, back to the main event. Let's cut back to Genoa City Memorial Hospital. The hallways are quiet. Too quiet. And then, stepping out of the shadows like an absolute sleep paralysis demon, is Patty Williams. You guys. Patty freaking Williams is strutting down the hospital corridor dressed in full medical scrubs, looking like an actual nightmare disguised as a registered nurse. I am literally hyperventilating right now just thinking about the look in her eyes. It's giving major I cannot even energy, but like, the terrifying, homicidal version. She is officially on my do not proceed list. I am so done with her. How in the name of all that is holy did she just waltz into the hospital? There is supposed to be a police detail guarding Jack's room. But no, the GCPD is genuinely the most useless police force in the history of television. A literal toddler could breach their security. Patty just glides right past the cops. A completely easy, effortless break-in. It is straight up baffling. The police officer is probably playing Candy Crush on his phone or staring blankly at a wall while Patty, the woman who literally stabbed the man inside, just pushes the door open and slips into Jack's room. I was screaming at my screen. I was physically vibrating from the sheer audacity of this woman. She closes the door behind her, and the click of that latch sounded like a vault ceiling shut. It was absolute cinematic mayhem. The lighting in Jack's room is dark, illuminated only by the eerie blue and green glow of his life support monitors, casting these long, sinister shadows across Patty's face. She walks up to his bed, and the silence in that room is deafening, broken only by the rhythmic, mechanical hiss of the ventilator and the steady beep of Jack's heart monitor. Patty just stands there for a second, looking down at the men she has been obsessively, violently fixated on for decades. Her expression is this terrifying mix of twisted affection and cold-blooded malice. And then, she reaches into her pocket. Besties, when I tell you my stomach dropped into a bottomless pit, I mean I felt physically ill. She pulls out a syringe, a pre-prepared syringe filled with some sort of clear, deadly poison. She brought it with her. This wasn't a crime of passion. This was a calculated, cold-blooded execution plan. I'm calling it. The villain arc is about to go nuclear. Patty holds the syringe up to the dim light, flicking the side of the plastic barrel with her fingernail to clear a tiny air bubble. That tiny little tap-tap sound is going to haunt my nightmares for the rest of my natural life. She leans over Jack, who is completely defenseless, totally unaware that his worst nightmare is hovering inches from his face. The tension is so thick you could cut it with a chainsaw. I am clutching my chest, screaming into a pillow, begging anyone, literally anyone, to walk through that door. A nurse, a doctor, a janitor. I don't care, but nobody comes. Because of course they don't. Patty finds the V-line, or maybe she just goes straight for the skin, but no, she goes right for his neck. She literally aims the needle at the vulnerable, exposed skin of Jack Abbott's neck. Which is honestly so unhinged. Who does that? She plunges the needle into his flesh and pushes the plunger down, injecting this toxic, lethal substance directly into his bloodstream. And what happens next is genuinely the most traumatizing thing I have ever witnessed on daytime television. Jack is in a coma. He is deeply unconscious, supposedly feeling nothing, trapped in the dark void of his own mind. But the poison, whatever she injected into him, is so violently caustic, so unimaginably painful, that his body reacts before his brain can even process it. Jack's eyes don't open. He doesn't wake up, but his mouth falls open, and he lets out this sound. You guys, the scream. It wasn't just a groan or a gasp. It was a primal, agonizing, soul-shattering scream of pure, unadulterated agony. It was the sound of a man being tortured from the inside out while trapped in his own sleeping body. I literally stopped breathing. I paused the show, stood up, and paced around my living room for 10 minutes because I was too unwell to handle the gravity of what I'd just heard. Hearing Peter Bergman deliver that muffled, tortured scream while his eyes were rolled back and closed, it was an acting masterclass, but it absolutely destroyed my emotional stability. His body arched off the mattress, fighting against the pain, the heart monitor instantly going absolutely berserk. The steady beeping turned into a frantic, high-pitched alarm, echoing off the sterile walls of the hospital room. It was total chaos, a complete and utter emotional train wreck. And I was sobbing. And Patty, does she panic? Does she show even an ounce of remorse? Absolutely not. She just watches him writhe for a split second, her eyes wide with this manic, terrifying thrill, and then she turns on her heel and bolts. She ghosts out of the room exactly the way she came in, slipping out the door and disappearing down the hallway like a phantom. She is basically a ghost of pure trauma at this point. Did I say that yet? My brain is mush. Moving on. The frantic alarms finally alert the completely useless police officers standing outside. They burst into the room, their guns drawn like absolute clowns, only to find Jack convulsing and screaming in his coma, his heart rate spiking to lethal levels. The cops realize they have been played, and they immediately slam their hands onto the emergency panic button on the wall. The blaring red lights start flashing, the emergency sirens wail through the hospital corridors, and suddenly the room is flooded with medical staff. Doctors and nurses are sprinting in, pushing the cops out of the way, grabbing crash carts, and screaming medical jargon that I don't even understand. His vitals are crashing. What happened? We're losing him. It is a flurry of blue scrubs, white coats, and sheer, unadulterated panic. They are pumping him full of counteractants, charging the defibrillators, doing literally everything to pull Jack back from the brink of death. And while this absolute bloodbath of a medical emergency is happening, the camera pans to the empty doorway, showing that Patty Williams is long gone. She has completely vanished into the night, leaving a trail of destruction in her wake. I am genuinely so unwell. I am physically vibrating. Imagine being dying right now. She is sitting in that cold, miserable police station, crying her eyes out, swearing up and down to the detectives that she loves Jack and would never hurt him. while her husband is literally being poisoned to death by his psychotic ex. When Diane and Ka get this phone call, oh my god, the devastation is going to be biblical. Ka is going to lose his absolute mind, manifesting a total dumpster fire by the next update, because there is no way this stays quiet. Jack Abbott cannot go out like this. He is a legend, an icon, and he better survive this poison. And honestly, Tracy Abbott is going to feel this in her soul. I can already feel the wrath of Tracy brewing. When she finds out Patty did this, she is going to rip Patty limb from limb. I'm calling it now. The Abbott family is about to go to war, and Genoa City will never be the same. I need to go lie down on the floor and stare at the ceiling for 3 to 5 business days to recover from this episode. Stay safe out there, besties, because nobody in Genoa City is.